A woman who is both kind and firm, a woman who sees the good in him, a woman who supports her own individualism as well as his, a woman who does the inner work, and a woman who courageously expresses her concerns. In this video, I want to talk about 5 types of women that men absolutely adore and appreciate, why they're so amazing to a man, and I'm going to speak for myself a little bit here, why I'm so grateful to have found these in my beautiful wife. Welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. It's great to have you. Let's dive straight into these. A woman who is both kind and firm. I can't tell you how much I appreciate having found this in my beautiful wife. And when a woman has this beautiful dichotomy, your kindness, your openness, your empathy, it gives us that support and companionship that is invaluable to us. And especially as we get older and mature, we realize the incredible value that has over a short-term superficial connection. And it has to be balanced with that firmness, because if it's just kindness, if it's just niceness, if it's just open-heartedness, those things are all beautiful. But unfortunately, anything that doesn't come with a challenge, inevitably in life, we as humans lose respect for. We don't value it the same way. So when you also have firmness to you, when you also make sure you stick by certain standards, when you also bring things up, I'm going to talk about this a little bit in point number 5, when you also have that firm side of yourself, a man knows that when push comes to shove, on the big stuff at least, he can't push you around. And that's going to give him a sense of respect for you and make him value you and appreciate you in a way that simply would not be present if you didn't have that firmness as well. So to be both kind and firm is the first beautiful dichotomy that I want to appreciate and give a shout out to you if you're embodying that right now. The second is to see the good in him. How good does it feel when someone sees the good in you? We tend to become what people expect of us. So if you're going to be with someone, please see the best in them. They will become that image that you see of them. Now, of course, there's going to be times where your partner disappoints you or where they can't live to that image all the time. And you want to see them for their flaws as well. I'm not saying ignore the bad things about them, but assume the best of your partner. Think he's doing things well. Consider what else might be going on if he has disappointed you or has upset you in some way. When a woman assumes the best of her man, she's essentially saying, look, I believe in you. I believe in your purpose as a man. I believe that you are a good person fundamentally. And she's saying, I'm here with you because of that reason, because of who you are. That's just a very powerful thing for a man to have subcommunicated to him. And I know that for some of you who are out there doing it, it's sometimes hard to embody and you have to kind of work to see the best in your partner. So I wanted to give you a bit of a shout out if you're doing that right now. Thanks for seeing the best in us as men. Thanks for supporting us. A woman's belief in us is immeasurably valuable to us as men. So we appreciate you for it. Number 3, support for his individualism and taking care of your own. This kind of serves 2 functions. So first, when you support his individualism, you really show him that you love him. Men tend to have freedom and autonomy as a little bit of a higher value than the average woman, in general at least. So when you show that you care about him and who he is outside of you and outside of the relationship, that really does speak volumes to how much you love him. Because sometimes that's going to be a little bit threatening to you. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit surprising or unusual or difficult for you to deal with. So when you can look past those feelings, those difficult emotions, and still honor him for who he wants to be and grow into outside of you and outside of your relationship, I think you're doing a man one of the greatest honors that you can possibly do him. And doing the same for yourself, which is honoring your individual self outside of the relationship, I think you're also doing yourself and your individual self one of the greatest honors you can. I was saying to my wife earlier, you know, to make sure that we are there for our child, beautiful Lainey, we need to make sure we're in the best relationship possible. But being in the best relationship possible as a couple also means your relationship with yourself. So it feeds from individual to couple down to child. And I said for her, one of the things I'm most excited for her to do is to be able to go out for a day, to not have to worry about Lainey, for me to be able to look after her so she can go maybe 24 hours without having to be a mum. She can get herself back. And I think now being a dad, that's one of the hardest things for new mums. Comment below if you can relate. Is it's so hard, especially if you're breastfeeding, to have time for yourself, to have any sort of individualism, any sort of identity outside of your new child. So to all the mums out there, shout out to you. And I really hope that you can honor your individual self as well in this process and carve out time for that, just as you do your partners or husbands. And by the way, this applies to you even if you don't have kids. Just let me tell you, it gets a little harder when you do. Number 4 is a woman who does the inner work. Gee whiz, it is bloody fantastic and refreshing, just as I'm sure you would say in reverse. As a man, when we meet a woman who's done the inner work, especially when we've done it for ourselves, we recognize that she's evolved, that she's moved forward from her blocks, that she's not going to pass her trauma on from her past onto us and vice versa because we do the same for her. That's when you know you're in a relationship where you're really growing together, where you're really on the same page, you have the same values, and you're going to work to be the best versions of yourself because you have done the work to understand where your triggers are from and where that trauma is likely to be activated. So you've taken care, and you may have healed it yourself, or you may have had a little bit of your partner's help to heal that. But man, it is just such a breath of air to meet women out there, and shout out to all of you who have done this, who are doing the inner work to be able to keep your heart open, to be able to do conflict well, to be able to show up to the difficult conversations. And it really is, it's just such a, it makes us feel closer to you, because it means that we can get close to you without worrying that stuff from your past is going to get projected onto us. So that's a very freeing feeling. And ironically, because it's a freeing feeling, it makes us safe to be so close to you and to be essentially committed very close to you and bonded to you. And number 5 is courageously bringing up your concerns. This relates a little bit to point number 1 about being firm, but I love the word courage here because it's different to bravery. You know, bravery is not feeling any fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So when you're able to courageously do conflict, courageously address your concerns, and courageously do the difficult communication that these things require, you're going to meet your mirror, your match, a man who not only admires that courage, but is able to match you there and do it with you too. And the cool part is, even if he's not some of the time, you know, if you meet a guy in dating who's not able to do those things, you will be able to filter out those people by courageously bringing up your concerns. And that'll give that guy something to think about. He will lose you, but he can move forward and think, okay, if I want someone like that, here's how I need to change and evolve myself to get a woman like that. So I just have so much respect for women who are able not to bring up their concerns, because let's be honest, depending how you do it, almost anyone can bring up their concerns. You can be passive aggressive and make a snide remark and bring up your concerns. I'm talking about doing it courageously, which is doing it with your heart open, doing it when it's scary for you, doing it when you are triggered, staying in that open-hearted space to bring up your concerns, with the risk that it might not go well, with the risk you could be rejected or even shamed for it. So shout out to all the women out there who are courageously bringing up their concerns, because to do that in a relationship is rare. And when we men find a woman who can, it's bloody fantastic. So those are 5 types of women that men absolutely adore and appreciate. Do you have a type of man that you adore and appreciate? Pop it in the comments below. Otherwise, if you want my no man, no fee guarantee to find such a man, you can go ahead and book a call. That link is in the description, and I'll chat to you about how the one-on-one stuff works. Otherwise, hit the big red subscribe button with the little bell, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.